Hello, Malcolm Nance. Good morning.
Hello, Steffi.
This was the Malcolm Nance term schadenfreudelicious applied to yesterday, didn't it?
You know, that term is now like universal. It can be applied anywhere at any time for what's going on, especially after Nancy and Chuck's show in the Oval Office. That was schadenfreudelicious.
You
It's yummy.
you said
It's yummy.
you said of the GIF of Nancy leaving the White House, putting on her sunglasses. You said, I need this to be a GIF. Political Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Some people,
She,
yeah,
she was. Did you see that
yeah,
red outfit she was wearing
yeah.
in her, I will terminate you shades?
Consider it Broughton. Yeah, it was
It was
fantastic.
she was on, man. She was completely on point.
Yeah,
And that's why did you see the journalist referring to as Madam Speaker?
yeah, exactly. Let's just skip that and get to where she's president.
Right.
Okay, when all
That's
these
right.
traitors go down. Malcolm, let's talk about Alda because you, as always, have the most interesting, the best take on stuff. Because a lot of times these stories, Maria Butina, you go, wait a minute. Because people are like, why would she go back to Russia? Isn't she in danger? And you have a whole bunch of tweets, one of which I read yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said why is a FSB spy Marina Butina dealing with Mueller? It's all a scheme to get her back to Russia. Yes, talking burns her GOP assets, but gets her exchanged in a future spy swap. Russian diplomats visited and coached her on what to do. Chaos reminds Trump they own him now. Interesting.
You know, there's when I talk, and I often say this, I'm not a journalist, and the journalist theme that I was hearing all of yesterday was that Maria Butina was not a spy, but that she was someone, according to her pleadings, who just got involved with this and saw an opportunity to forward the Russian Federation's version of trying to improve relations. And to that, I say, bull. I mean, these people don't behave like that. So at the time, 22, 23-year-old girl from Siberia, a furniture saleswoman, just helped create an organization and just went to the top of American power in a matter of a few, years? No, there's just no way. She is a Russian spy, and the filing that they put in there for her, which is an unauthorized foreign, acting as an unauthorized unregistered foreign agent. That's the first charge we levy against all spies. But in this particular case, you might notice the Russians put a lot into Maria Butina. They had diplomats visit her 6 to 10 times. The Russian foreign minister personally intervened with Mike Pompeo to ask about having her released. They had an entire information campaign in Russia asking she be released. They had on the Russian Foreign Ministry website hashtag Free Maria Butina.
Right, and then
And
and then you
that's
tweeted
not
Putin.
normal.
Verifies her status by disavowing her internationally. Practically screams she's a non-official cover agent, right? Because he
That's
was,
right.
yeah. I
Yeah, a non-official cover agent has a technical term in Russia. A non-official cover agent is a person who goes through spy school and disappears and then acts like a civilian. And that term by the Russians is called an illegal. And if you ever watch the TV show The Americans, or watch that crew of 10 Russian spies we kicked out during the Obama administration, they were all the same. They were all illegals. And
right.
the FBI rolled them up differently because those people were sleepers. They were literally put in the United States to act like Americans and collect intelligence. Maria Butina had a very specific mission, which was to work her way through power using whatever look she had, charm, and guns to get to the president of the United States. And people say, well, why? Why would she be tasked for that? She and her boss, Alexander Torshin, were only one spoke in the many spokes to get to the hub that was the Trump campaign. And so when you put her operation together with real estate, with the promise of Donald Trump building a Trump Tower, with the Russians doing money laundering, people contributing to their campaign, you have multiple spokes that create the wheel that was Donald Trump's criminal enterprise. But, journalists all think that whatever's written in the pleadings is exactly as it is. This is how we do spy exchanges. We lessen the charges. We quietly cut a deal. What you see in the pleadings is just the tip of the iceberg. And she'll probably be deported when this is done. But it's also in Russia's interest to allow her to burn all these political assets behind her, so
Right.
long as
Well,
the fiction
yeah.
that she was a independent contractor who was doing this for the good of her country can be held, and we'll exchange her for some real Russian spy that we had turned over there.
Yeah. Well, and her boyfriend,
Oh,
Paul Erickson's "How to Respond to an FSB Offer of Employment" document shows Maria Butina was a real Russian spy, and he was considering her formal offer to be a paid agent of Russian intelligence. Often, traders sign written terms of employment just like a day job. He may be the first one
absolutely.
charged with espionage, right? I mean,
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. He took notes when she or Alexander Torshin or both of them were communicating to them. The term honeypot or honey trap is real. It means a woman agent who is a trained officer or an asset under your control of an intelligence agency uses sex to turn people into traitors. And you see it in the movies all the time, but it is a real tactic and a real term of art. We tend to use assets, the Russians tend to use officers. And it was the Russian KGB general who's on the board of the Spy Museum with me, Oleg Kalugin, who said Americans ask their men to stand up for their country. The KGB asked their women to lay down for them because honey traps are effective.
yeah,
And she was a classic honey trap. We don't know who else she slept with. If she did, I don't know.
yeah.
She's still maintaining the fiction that she was a student in America who just happened to be able to ask Donald Trump the first question about him lifting sanctions. She
Yeah.
could have been an intelligence
She's a student.
subcontractor, by the way,
Oh, okay.
which is a student, but who is not officially trained, but is still tasked out on a mission. Uh, so
Except that there happen to
still
be
an
pictures
agent
of
of the.
her at a Russian military training facility, but okay.
I got to tell you, I saw her shooting video. Her
Yes.
tactics were solid. I think when this is all said and done, she will return to Russia. She will be lauded as a hero of the Russian Federation. And like her predecessor, what's her name? Anna Chapman, who was also a Russian who came to Britain, married a dull and dumpy guy, took his last name, and used that visa to get into the United States to work in the real estate market and pretend that she was just an American,
Hmm.
a visitor here. She was an FSB trained
But do
intelligence officer.
do you think that she's going to help bring down the NRA? Oh, please God. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
well,
I mean,
again,
we already know there was illegal coordination between the NRA and the Trump campaign, right?
it doesn't hurt to burn her assets now.
Yeah.
And burning her assets will allow everyone other than the NRA. Maybe she won't say how much money got transferred. Look, Robert Mueller already has the transfer documents.
Right.
This is a document guy. But if she doesn't play ball, she's going to sit in that prison for another 5 years, not for 5 months, until we can arrange a spy swap.
Yeah.
And so and most people forget, she's been in prison for 5 months because she's a spy.
Yeah.
So we don't
Yeah.
hold people who have visa problems for 5 months
Right.
unless you're
All
Latino.
right.
She's red haired and white, so
Yeah.
she should have walked right out. But
Let's talk
she's
about Manafort. So, an attorney for Manafort said yesterday that he may not contest the allegation by Bob Mueller's team that he lied after reaching a plea agreement with prosecutors. The decision about whether to contest the claims that Manafort lied, the attorney said, may be influenced by, quote, information we learned today about where all this goes.
yeah,
What does that mean, do you think?
Nick Ackerman, former Watergate lawyer, had a brilliant take on this yesterday. All of this trouble and the fact that the FBI had to have his lawyers in his interviews showed that Manafort was not only going to lie, but his lawyers knew he was going to lie
Uh-oh.
and wanted to have lawyers in the room because it's not normal for that. And so that the FBI right now is in negotiations with his law firm to try to come to some semblance of truth because He thinks he's going to get a pardon and walk away from this. No, he's going to die in prison, and his lawyers are trying to assist in having him not die in prison. But he's put his money on Donald Trump, and we know how that's going to end.
Yeah. Okay, last story. Top Russian official says the Kremlin is willing to declassify and release its correspondence with the United States on Russia's attack on the 2016 election. They will release those documents if Washington agrees. What does that mean?
I hadn't heard this before. That's classic. If you read my last book, The Plot to Destroy Democracy, there's an entire section of that book which talks about how the Russians use false and doctored documents, and those documents are often used in order to manipulate the meta narrative around the situation that you're in. The Russians will make up the documents they want, and they will all be awesome and support whatever the hell it is they do. These people are masters of social manipulation and disinformation. So why would we believe any document they give us?
What? So Malcolm, what's next? Where are we? Dana just asked me, is he, going to wait till the new Congress to
get the report? I want the report.
Well, he's already, a lot of the report, quote unquote, is already dropped in all these indictments and guilty pleas, hasn't it, Malcolm?
Yeah, it is. And that's what you get. You have these talking indictment documents. You have to wait for it's the material, the little breadcrumbs that we're seeing right now that are the most fascinating. And as long as those things keep coming, you don't have to worry about the report. The report will end up, there will be so many criminal indictments before you ever need to get to that point that you will be more than, have schadenfreude overload by then.
Yeah,
we'll need a schadenfreude and Narcan or something to get us revived every time.
Redacted. I want to see what's underneath the redactions.
Just wait for the indictments, baby.
All right.
It's like Christmas morning. We're like, come on, let's open the redactions.
Yes.
All right. Malcolm, great stuff. We'll talk to you next week, sir.
All right.
Ta-ta. All right, love you.